Bonsoir. In this episode, I continue to reveal some secrets on interior design photography. Come and join me. Bonsoir mesdames et messieurs. My name is Serge Ramelli and welcome to my Photography, Lightroom and Photoshop podcast, episode number 39. Last week, I showed you some of my workflow on shooting and retouching interior design. With a raw file, I took a raw file from a 4-star hotel in Paris, the Hotel Arès, and showed you the whole process of the retouching. I got a lot of comments and a lot of likes, so apparently it's a topic that people like. So I wanted to continue on that. If you have not checked last week's episode, check it out. It's pretty interesting if you're into this type of photography. This week, I continue to show you some more of that workflow with a specific case that you will run into if you take interior design. And that is shooting a room that is too small, even for a wide angle lens, to get the whole room right. Let me show you how I do this. Okay, so this week we do another tutorial on interior design. As you know, that's been my main job for the last 7 or 8 years. Landscape has been mostly a hobby for me, even though I start selling quite some fine prints now. Where I was really making the money was on shooting hotels. And one trouble I ran into when I started shooting hotels, especially in Paris, most of the rooms are very small. It's not like in the United States, you know, everything is tiny in Paris because the square meter is so expensive. So even the most luxury hotels have small rooms. For example, this is a suite taken in the Hotel Saint-Germain-des-Prés, Rue Bonaparte. It's right by the Church of Saint-Germain, beautiful area. And it's a very, Saint-Germain style type of hotels. And they have like a little room before the main bedroom, but it's quite small. So, and the owner wanted me to take the full photo of that room. So what I did is that I put my camera on portrait mode, on portrait orientation, and I shot manual. I tried to find some values that, so for this one it was 1.3 second at f.0. Why f.80 is that I wanted everything to be sharp. And I got a question, by the way, from a guy saying, why don't you shoot at f22 if you want everything to be sharp? Well, I don't do that for 2 reasons. One, if you shoot usually above f11 or f13, that's called the sweet spot of a lens, meaning sometimes you can get some diffraction. Basically, you can get some bad effects on the photo. I mean, honestly, it's pretty tiny today. But the main reason why I don't do it is I'm already at 1.3 second of exposure time. If I would be at f22, I would have like 10 to 15 seconds of exposure time. And the shoot, I would get a more downgraded image. And if I take like 100 photos, it would take forever. So that's why I shoot interior design at f8.0, And so I put, this is very important for you to be in manual, because if you look at the second photo, it's also at 1.3 second at f8, and the third photo also. And basically, I'm going to use the panorama feature of Photoshop so that we are able to see the entire room. So, but as it's raw file, it's very important to retouch them before you merge them. Why? That's a question that I get a lot also. Why do you retouch your photos before doing the merging? Why? Because a raw file has got the good stuff. The raw file has got all the hidden stuff. And there is no better workflow than first getting the best out of your raw file and then going out of Lightroom. Because as soon as you go out of Lightroom, it's not a raw file anymore. It's fixed. It's written in stone and it cannot be changed, and you lose information. So to get the best out of a raw file and then merge is the right way to go. At least that's what has worked for me. Other people might think different, but that's the way I rock and roll, baby. So anyway, so let's start off. So the retouching of that photo is pretty simple. It's straightforward. It's what I do most of the time. I'm going to put up the shadows. Now I don't go on interior design at plus 100. Sometimes I go I'm going to start at like plus 50. On the highlights also like plus 50. Then I'm going to do the whites and the blacks. So I press the option key and I go to the right. Not that much. I don't want to, you see, that's one of the reasons why I underexpose these interior design photos is I don't want this lamp to be just a big burn white circle. That's not interesting. It's more interesting to see all the details of the beautiful lamp in Paris, you know. That's why people pay to come to Paris. They want to see all these details. Okay, and then the blacks. The blacks, option key, right, yeah, something like this. It's a bit it's a bit dark, so I'm gonna make the whole thing a bit, better exposure. Now the white balance is pretty cool. One thing that you can do when you've got white, I like to try this out. You just take the picker here and you go on the white. I don't like it so much. So you know what? It's too much green. So I'm going to back down a little bit. Yes, maybe warm it up a bit. I mean, it's the white balance on interior design is completely to your taste. Okay, I kind of like that. What's very important also, as we have a raw file here, is to take out any noise. There's not much noise in that photo. So when I don't see noise, I put it to 20. So noise plus 20. And let's do some sharpening. Let's get the sharpening. It's not a very sharpening around 90. Now which is important when you do sharpening also, see how it's very grainy here on the curtains. I don't need that. I only need the contour to be sharpened, the edges. So I'm going to click the option key and use the masking tool until anything which is a bit flat, like the curtains or the texture on the walls. Yeah, so you won't see the contour. I like that. Okay, so I sharpened only the contour and I took the noise out. Okay, profile, that's very important to enable the profiles correction, especially this was shot with a 1740, which is a very wide angle. And look at the difference. You know, it's especially, it takes out the vignetting. Okay, maybe let's add a little tiny bit of clarity. Yeah, just a little bit, like plus 20. Then I take my 3 photos, once I've retouched one, and that can only work if you shot manual, because you've got the exact same exposure. So I can just click on sync, make sure that check all is on, and synchronize. And I'm retouching all 3 photos with the same settings. Then I just have to right click, edit, and merge to panorama in Photoshop. So it's going to open up Photoshop, and I just click on make sure blend image together is on, auto is perfect, click OK. And it's going to create a panel with all 3 photos. So I'm going to put this on pause for a second. This way it's merged. Now once it's merged and we are in Photoshop, we need to do some other stuff. You see how this is all rounded here, and this is rounded. I don't like that. So for this, I'm going to go into layers, merge layer. Then I'm going to duplicate the layer in Photoshop and go to this beautiful new filter that's called adaptive wide angle that you can find in Photoshop CS6. And there, look at the magic. See how this is rounded? All I have to do is click here, and there's a blue line, and then I click here, and it's going to make it straight. Okay, maybe here also. You don't need to do it on all the wooden stuff. See how all this is bended? This is like weird. Same thing. And look how it follows along the mirror. Isn't that amazing? Okay, now this, I would like this to be vertical. So I can just right click on it and vertical. And it's going to make sure this is vertical. I need to do the same thing here. See how it's bended, and see how the blue line is following this furniture here. Okay, same thing, right? Vertical. And now I've got something which is a lot more straight. Maybe we can do one more line here. Okay, and let's do one more here maybe. No, it's not taking, when it's not working, it's not working. Let's just do something like this. Okay, maybe here. So we're just getting everything straight basically. Okay, I kind of like that, so I'm going to click on OK. And so now I can see the whole room before, after, and I don't have distortion. So then I can just take the crop tool, which is here, and let's crop it. So I think I'm going to crop out the mirror. Let's see first like this. Okay, okay, and like this. Okay, I don't mind that. And press enter. Okay, I kind of like that. That's kind of cool. Then check it out before, after. Oh, I might leave the mirror. It's going to give more space to the room. Okay, then I create an empty layer, and I'm going to stamp. I'm pressing the S key for the stamp tool. S is stamped. Then the option key, I'm going to make it a bit smaller using the option or alt key and control key, and your mouse that makes it smaller. I'm going to press Alt on this little furniture here, and I'm just going to duplicate here, and I just have to paint now, and that's it. Okay, I'm missing something here, so I'm just going to click here and paint here. Make it smaller. Voila. Voila. Okay, so now I've got that back, and basically that's that, and I'm ready to finish now in Lightroom. So I'm gonna press Command W, and I'm gonna click Save. Now this is gonna be a huge file. It's gonna be like 7,000 pixel by 7,000 pixel because it's 3 photos. But I have a very powerful computer. I've got an iMac 27 with 32 gigabytes, so it should work fine. I'm back in Lightroom, and now I can see the entire room. And I just keep on retouching it in Lightroom. What am I gonna do now? I'm gonna put some lights back on. So for this, I'm gonna take the brush tool, make sure my exposure is at 0.43, and I just wanna brighten up just here a little bit. Okay, now that's very important in interior design, to brighten up things. So I'm gonna make a new brush. Let's see, I like to cheat, and make like, let's make something a bit brighter here on the wall, just to make this wall a bit brighter. Okay, new. Every time I make a new brush, let's make something a bit brighter here, and let's increase. Yeah, just making it more interesting. New brush. Let's make a little circle here. Let's make this also a bit brighter. So up, brighter. Oh, my saturation is also on. Like, I just want to make things a bit brighter here. Okay, new. Now that's the whole point. The whole key point between having a client who says wow and a client who says good is the brush tool. Believe me, after shooting over 120,000 of interior design photo, I know what I'm talking about. Okay, so I made this brighter, and new again. Now here, I like to make a ray of light. Check this out, a little ray of light. You know what, my flow, I put 100, my density at 100, make the brush a bit smaller. And I'm gonna brighten up here, put my saturation at 21 and make it a bit, yeah, I want some brightness here. Okay, new again. And here, some light here. Maybe add a bit of yellow in that light. So there's a bit of contrast, a bit of red maybe, no. Okay, new. Wanna make one more, something like this. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, yes. Okay, check it out, before the brush stroke, after the brush stroke. You bring back life to your interior design photo with brush strokes. I can go on forever on brush strokes. New, make maybe a little circle there. Make it a bit like something like that. Okay. Maybe boost the overall vibrance of the photo to make it a bit more interesting. And what I want to make it a bit brighter, just slightly brighter, and put some vignetting effect onto it at the end, to make it more dramatic. Okay, maybe add a bit of contrast. Okay, I add contrast. I mean, the funny thing, when you retouch a photo, you just retouch it and you've got like a flow going, a fitting going. Then you go get a coffee and you come back and you go, what did I do? This is the 3rd time I'm retouching that photo, and every time I go into complete new direction. But that's just how it is. Retouching a photo is in the moment. It's the flow right now. Okay, maybe add one more thing. Here I want to add one more glow of light on that wall. I think that wall is boring. I want to make it more interesting. Okay, that's too much. So I'm going to make this, just make it, it just gets the texture a bit more out, We just get the texture a bit more out. Okay, maybe add a bit of more blue, or take out more blue, make it a bit warmer. No. Okay, that's about it. So that was the only way I had to take this entire room in one photo. Now, the way I gave it to the customer was like this. I actually cropped that circle, so I gave it like this. I don't know. It's up to you. Whatever you think is the best. The key point was to show you how you can make a panorama in a small, tiny room, and it can make a difference between having the photo or not having the photo. Okay. Review as usual. I changed a bit my website, which is called photosearch.com, to make it clearer. The first page here is called now English Tutorials, and the second one is called Tutorial Français. So that's only French tutorials, and that's only English tutorials. And on the English tutorials, I still have some limited offer going on. This is going to change very soon. You still get 30% when you purchase my entire training, and 30% also when you buy my whole Lightroom 4 training and Photoshop training. This should end next week. It's going to be just 20% for the packages instead of 30. If you want to see what do you have in the package, you can just click on the icon and you will see a bit more details of what each course does. For example, the Lightroom package, the first course is called Lightroom 4 Quick Start. It masters the basics of Lightroom 4 in a couple of hours. And then basically in this course, I'm going to take every module of Lightroom and show you how they work, including web module, making slideshows, making books, everything. You learn the whole Lightroom thing. On this one, on Lightroom for retouching, it's only retouching projects. It's 6 or 7 retouching projects with all the raw files. So it's really, the main key feature of Lightroom, which is retouching. And the third one, it's a travel photo retouching. I went to Venice and brought a lot of photo bags, and I show you how I retouch my 6 or 7 best photos. So this is all of Lightroom. This is just retouching, and the whole thing now is for $21. We're talking 6 hours of training with over, I would say, about 15 raw files for $21. And well, it's about the same concept for the Photoshop training and for all. So I will increase the price a bit more in the future, so take the opportunity to purchase it now. Thank you guys, and let's get back to the studio. Okay, so I hope you liked that tutorial. I think using panorama technology to take interior design is very interesting, and I hope it inspires you to do the same thing. I want to thank everybody for all the comments and all the likes that I got last week. And I ask you again that if you do like this video, please like it and leave a comment. It really helps to boost the views on YouTube, and it helps me to grow and be able to reach more people on teaching photography, which is something that I love. So it's just one little click for you, and it's a lot for me. Thank you very much, guys, for being there, and I'll see you next week. This week, I'm in Orlando at Photoshop World with Scott Kelby, and if you are in Orlando, come and say hi to me. It will really be a pleasure. Bye-bye, and see you next week.